All right, and last but not least, Northman, boy.
Yeah, boy.
One
Northman,
of
boy.
our most highly anticipated movies of
Right,
the
so
year.
yeah, so
So,
that's before we start, boy. Northman, boy. Yeah, boy.
no,
Northman.
Northman, boy. Northman, right?
Yeah,
So,
9 out of 10.
Ricardo,
9 out of 10 on time.
Ricardo, yeah, so Ricardo, I just want you to just do the synopsis and share your thoughts. I will come through afterwards because I have some stuff to say about it. Well, my reasoning behind why I enjoy this movie so much, right? I know it be very sorry with other viewers, but for me, I picked up on something a little bit different, a little bit special, right? But yeah, Ricardo, take it away.
So
Northman,
watch
what's it
now.
about?
Yeah, watch now. This Northman, boy. Northman, boy.
Northman boy.
Uncle Kilifada, boy. Uncle, boy. Real bad, boy. Real
Real
dread.
bad boy. What's
And he
what's
grew up real dread.
real dread that boy? Like
Yeah, boy.
man killing people that boy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Slashing people that boy.
Yeah, the mother leaving for the father, boy. It's an old base on Hamlet, base of this derived Hamlet. Like where Hamlet come from, Dread.
Yeah,
Hamlet,
Hamlet boy. Remember Hamlet from primary school? From sorry,
right?
what was say primary school? Whoops.
Similar story.
From theater arts boy, remember that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, boy. But man hard, boy.
But
Dread.
that's real hard horse. Real bad horse.
They fighting a volcano, Dread.
Horse. A volcano dog.
Yeah, right. Yeah, about this one.
I was
Real
thinking
dread.
this do this whole night, Dread, but
Yeah. I pretty much
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's a very loosely based off of what you call the story of Hamlet, which is what Hamlet was based on. Most likely fictional. Norse story about Vikings. Yeah, it's Robert Eggers' more straightforward story, but what they do it is in the conceit of animism, right? Just what these people have to go through in terms of thinking about the world and how they perspective in terms of what history is, and we get a couple of characters from people who could do that perfectly, like Green Goblin, Gubby himself, right? Basically playing himself, playing Goblin.
yeah.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe is just being
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe, you know?
Right. But you also have Bjork in this, who's pretty good as well. And then you have a lot of like great drama involving, his mom and what the mother was about. And it's like, oh, this real dread though. This real grimy. But Northman, real badness. He grab
Real
us
bad
here,
this boy.
grab
That's
us
real
here,
hard horse.
he grab us here mid-throw and throw it back, Dread.
Yeah, boy. Horse.
Northman.
That was the trailer, you know, boy. You see it, boy.
Yeah. Northman, boy. Real slice up, man. Man throw it, get
Yeah.
slip up. They
Boy.
talking normal, but you see people throw it, get slash and thing, one got something in the thing, like, boy, it's real bad,
Yeah,
boy.
boy. Horse, boy.
Not bad, boy. No, but like it works. It is excellent. Like it just Eggers at his best. In my opinion, like I can't say I like this as more than I can't like this. I don't like this more than Witch, but I like it a little more than Lighthouse. A little more.
Yeah, I would say it's less indulgent than
Right. Than
Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
Like
Than
as much as
Lighthouse
we
was, yeah.
enjoy the crazy shit of Lighthouse, it
Right.
more than a little self-indulgence at times.
Right.
At times, right? I mean,
This-
look at that poor what was my oh gosh, the pelican,
yeah,
the pelican.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor pelican dreading. Jesus, like dog. What was that, man? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just a straightforward story, but why it works is just the conceit of just interpreting the world through mythology and history and that perspective and making it work. So it's more like the Vivitch in that sense, where you can't tell what real and what fake and what
Yeah.
in that, at least from their perspective. Like,
Although to be fair though, as you bring up the Witch, I wish that at the end credits they could have say, oh, this is based off of this, like how they did in the end of the movie, like this is based
Right.
off of historical events, blah blah blah. I
Right.
wish you got
But
a little disclaimer at the end, but we didn't get that.
well, if you know it, you know it. That's the thing. It kind of rely on you know it. It's kind of like with Green Knight. No? Like, yeah, that's how to know it. Like, yeah, that's how to know it. It's like, oh, all right, this is blah blah blah. Whatever. Yeah, I just dug the hell out of this. Again, it was going normal for me, and I think it's a little too long, but it was going. But then when I get to the volcano dread, I was like, what is this real hard? There's some real dread.
Right.
Like, grimy yourself. Although I was like, wait, this is where George Lucas got that final fight in Star Wars from.
It's Star Wars episode
Yeah,
3.
right,
Yes, I was
yeah.
talking about that too.
Because I was like, wait, if the myth is based off of that fight in the volcano, like that is what it's about. So that's where George Lucas got it from, probably. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, let's get on real dread and that thing. And there's the ending, like that final last piece of the ending. I just, just that last shot is like, oh shit, that took real bad. Like, oh, this grimy as hell.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, so that's how I feel about it for now. Like Northman, boy. That Northman boy, real bad boy.
All right, so let me jump in, boy. Right, so
Yeah.
for me, right, I literally saw this yesterday times recorded here, right? As I step in the cinema, I'm not gonna get into details into my viewing experience, right? But I only saw like about like say 5 or 6 people there, right? And in my head, I tell myself like I wonder how this would translate to like a full audience, right? Because like the moment I saw Universal Studios and Focus Features, I was like, all right, so I mean, Robert Eggers is gonna put out something a little bit accessible, so people
Yeah.
who wasn't on his hype train earlier, who don't know about his 824 films or whatnot, could kind of jump into this and understand what's going on and appreciate it. No, and this is one thing I love about this movie, Jen. Robert Eggers did not sell himself out
Nah.
because Universal put up a movie. It's like, no, this is pure Eggers Strong boy. I would say it's a lot of Eggers, like too much Eggers at some points, boy, like way too much Eggers, boy, right? What I mean is that it is stylistic throughout from start to end, though, and it's just it's jarring, it's abrasive at some points, though, but it totally works, though.
What I like is that you see how like to have the camera flowing because they have like excellent use of long takes. Like I'm a big fan of the long take. You can't go wrong with a good long take, right? But how it's used, and I'm not sure if it's the fake rope long take stuff, but they do some.
I doubt it.
Right,
really smart, yeah.
But they do some really smart like wipes and transition sections, and it's like, oh shit, wait, what happened there? And listen, I can't wait to like get on whatever DVD or wherever it come out on digital just to get some rewinds. Because I get the feeling to have a lot of smarter transitions than I remember. But I remember like watching and just kind of blinking and missing. And like, wait, did he do what I think he did there? It's a lot of that. Like I was like, oh shit, this real bad though. Like it's a perfect listen. I don't know, the man figure it out. The man figure out to get a way to cater to my dude bro bare swollen sense on one side, but then my film bro, looking for shots type sense, and he makes it perfect. And it had the two sides of our brain working perfectly now. He pushed them two buttons real good. He absolutely nailed that, Jared. Like it was very impressive. Yeah, go ahead.
Agreed. Yeah. So for me, right? So while I was watching this, right? So the show that instantly came to mind while I was watching this, right? As only afterwards I realized, oh wait, this is based off this is what inspired the Hamlet thing, right? That's why I wish that we got like a little disclaimer in the end, like, okay, this is what led to blah 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 blah, right? So at least people wouldn't go in too blind, right? But for me, what this show reminds me of is a little film from 1982 called Conan the Barbarian.
Of course.
Which actually is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah.
It is pure B-movie glory.
Right.
You know what I mean? From the dialogue to the story and whatnot, though, it's very bare bones, but it works for me. Especially that score is one of the greatest scores ever put to a movie, in my opinion, right?
Tulsa Doom is still one of my favorite villains ever.
Of course, yeah. And even
the villain in this, they do really get that.
He does the same thing that Tulsa Doom do, where
I forget the actor's name. What's his name?
His name is Cleus Bang.
Okay.
Right. So his entry, right? Or I would say, well, one of his entries, right, before he, if you remember, if you saw the trailer, where he kills Let's father, right? Where he stops, he comes off the horse, he takes the mask, he takes his helmet off. Very Tulsa Doom. Very, very, very Tulsa Doom, right? But what I mean in terms of, why I bring it up, Conan Barbarian, right? So the joke I make is this is what would happen if Robert Eggers made a remake of that movie, right? Or if he made his own version of it. Because what it is really, it's like on the surface, it is barbarian character whose father got killed and his mother has gone missing, and now he is just on this journey of revenge, and he has to acquire a sword, which is forged from this mighty this and all that kind of stuff, right? And he has to mow down all these warriors and all that kind of stuff, and it's all about achieving this glorious death, right? I mean, if you know a thing or two about just like warrior characters in film and whatnot in media, you always know about that glorious death thing, right? And speaking of that, though, I love how this show has all these parallels to Native American culture, right? Well, you should see, especially with Bjork's character, especially with that awesome costume that she has on there, right? And to the ceremonies themselves, be usually done by basically by campfire, basically, right? And just all these like rituals and all that kind of stuff, right? You could see allusions to like what Native Americans do as well, right? But I'll touch on those moments in a bit, right? But yeah, it really did feel like I was just watching this Conan story play out, or Conan-esque story play out, right? And also and some that I probably am the only one who noticed, right? Anya Taylor-Joy's character, right? Who
Right.
plays Olga, right? At first, I wasn't sure what her bit was or why she was there, because I know that eventually she would become the love interest of Hamlet. Because
Yeah, she looked like she.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But when they kind of reveal that she has this mystic vibe about her, though, and they kind of alluded to her probably being a Valkyrie. Who knows? We don't know. I
Right.
guess I like how the show leaves it open, right?
Yeah, they kind of
It
keep it
actually
right.
reminds me of Courtney Barbarian himself. If you remember the character
Oh, I read it.
of Valeria, right? Remember,
Oh,
there's a
how,
point where
how
she
I read
dies
that.
and she kind of
Yeah.
comes back in the end and says, "Do you want to live forever?" And
Yeah,
then
it's
she just
just,
disappears, right? But I'll talk
Yes.
about the whole code and stuff in a bit. But go on.
Yeah, this is it's his delusion. That's why they do the whole witch thing. It's similar to the witch in that sense, where you're not sure was illusion and reality kind of stuff. Now you can't tell. Like
Yes, which I love. That is
there's a person's
pure
perception
Robert
of the
Eggers. I
world.
love
Right.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Well, sorry for butting in there, but you're right. You're absolutely right. I love how the show plays with delusion versus reality as well, right? Because if you look at something like Coda, right, that movie, that the god awful 2011 remake with
Yeah,
Jason
not that
Momoa,
bullshit. Yeah. Not that
hated that movie,
Yeah.
hated it, right? But yeah, if you look at that, right, it's how to say it even though it is a fantasy film, right? The way how it's filmed and put together, it feels logical. It feels like, yeah, this is like a real lived-in world, right? But ever so often they'll drop some sort of fantastical stuff, like all of a sudden, Conan is dead, and this guy Mako, rest in peace to Mako, right? AKA Aku from Samurai Jack will do some kind of spell
Right.
to bring him back to life. And Valeria, even though she get killed, she comes back to life to save Conan. And now we have Tulsa Doom, played by the great James Earl Jones, who suddenly could turn into this giant snake. And there's all these kind of things that kind of blur the line between fantasy and reality.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like this was just intentionally like, okay, we're gonna show like, all right, this is how ties were back in the days, this is like the Vikings TV show. But then ever so often we will just drop some kind of weird shit on the internet. And they're like, but wait, no, but that real? Like
Well,
the stuff
that's
for
why
example,
kind
I
of
was
got.
like, that real though? Like
Yeah.
because and by the way, without spoiling anything though, they do a brilliant example of that in terms of Hamlet acquiring the sword. That's all I'll say.
Right.
How they blur that fantasy reality aspect, dude. That was perfect. I love that, right?
Because
I love that.
it clearly had some like psychedelic kind of borderline use in some of the aspects of the thing. Now you're not sure. It's just a state of mind, like catching a vapes. A lot of native cultures do that. You do even without psychedelics, you still have a lot of that now, where people just get into a mental state or speak in tongues or whatever it is. That has nothing to do with that. Just that's the culture. Like this whole us being rational and seeing the world as it is. That is a relatively recent bullshit. That new, right? Most of humanity is just getting into these weird mental states and rages of violence or whatever it is you need to do to get a job done for whatever it is you need to do. And in this dude's case, he needed to get something done and he had to get it done. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And one thing I love about this show here too, Tread, is how it plays a lot on, this is just the mind state, right? So there's there's this primal like rage throughout the show, Tread.
Yeah.
Like even down to the rituals themselves. Right now to Hamlet as a kid and his dad, who's played by Ethan Hawke, right? Bringing him in to meet, crazy Willem Dafoe, right? And they're going through like this
shaman,
really the shaman. It is going through this really primal, guttural ceremony, though.
Yeah.
And it borders on just batshit crazy, but it works. You feel like, back then, all you just had to do is just, sniff some powder or whatever it is.
But it could
just start yelling, going, grah!
It could be just anything. It could just be doing something that is shocking to you. Like, I think when they had to eat raw meat, I forget what it was exactly. Yeah, they had to do something.
Raw meat, yeah.
Yeah, or something you had to do. Just do something that is shocking to your own mind. Not necessarily something truly like psychedelic or directly, influencing you in that sense. It's just, there's some shock value shit that will just traumatize somebody. That is pretty much
it. And
this kind of controlled trauma almost.
Yes, exactly. It feels like it's just all part of this world, It's all this animalistic, all these grunts and yells and rah and all that kind of stuff. Just real testosterone, right? Just pumped through this movie, right? I love, like, you'll have like these little subtle little like, yeah, we kind of call it out on the bullshit with this one, right? Like case in point where Hamlet, when he grows up to be, the muscular Alexander Skarsgård, who by the way crushes it with this movie, right?
Yeah.
Where he's with this group of Vikings and this go on this full out raid, right? So it's a moment where they're doing all this raid stuff and all that stuff, and afterwards they kind of looking at the prisoners like, oh, they are like heathens, or they are like primitive and all that kind of stuff. But like, look at what all they do. They just like bomb rush these people, please, Jen. There's even
Right.
a moment later on where the
It didn't
bad
pull its
guy himself
punches in
wants to
that
say,
sense, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't glorify the violence. That's what yeah,
No,
you're right
no,
about
no,
that.
no. Yeah, it
Yeah.
shows it raw, unfiltered, and yeah, it just gets it into your skin, though, and it totally works, right? There's also a moment involving, this is actually, okay, so the main villain is his uncle, right? His Hamlet's uncle, right? So his son, his other son now, right? Is a point where he mentions, he mentions Christians, right? He talk about, they worship a god who is nailed to a tree. Just so, like, kind of
Right.
call them out, like, look at these pagans, but look at them though, like when they
Right.
have to just do a basic ceremony, like you see when a character is basically given, the whole Viking stuff where they put you on a boat and then they torch it and they do all this stuff. It's like how creepy that look though, like when you have this one chick who's singing and thinking, oh, okay, that's just it. They just kind of build up the celebration. And it's like legit sacrifice to people dry soup because
Yep.
because we have to go to war now because of Hamlet, right? Basically what he did, right? So it's just that balance of, all right, I'm watching all this stuff and it feels authentic. I have a feeling that a lot of research went into it as well, right? But just like a little hint of psychedelia into it too, where it's like you can't believe at times what you see. Like, oh my god, like why they flipping out? Why they going crazy? Like why case in point with the Vikings are doing a little ceremony in front of this campfire? Why they yelling and howling like wolves all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
So it's just how it touches on that, but it feels authentic. It feels like this is the will it has to be, and this is the mindset, right? I'll show that. I'll compare this also to you said the witch. I'll compare this also to Mandy as well, right? I'll tell you why, right?
Okay, right, yeah, okay, yeah.
Because for me, for me, this is probably gonna go down one of the most memorable theatrical experiences I've ever had in my life, Trey, because boy, for one thing, boy, not just the visuals, 'cause I mean the visuals are just stellar throughout, boy. But that sound design, boy,
Yeah, boy.
oh boy. The score, boy, oh boy. And yes, I know the score is your typical dark fantasy sort of, guttural, what do you call it by that sort of throaty, that that kind of stuff
Yeah.
there, right? Like it goes into that really dark territory, right? But it works. But why I compare it to Mandy as well though is like, at his base level, right? Mandy just tells a simple story, right? But how it zeroes in on this character's like mind state, right? And how he's hell bent on revenge and trying to save his mom, who by the way is played by Nicole Kidman, right? That's
Right.
and yeah, she's alive, right? Oh yeah, by the way, she crushed it as well too. There's a twist involving her though. I was like,
Yeah, no,
all
I
right,
find
well,
I find when they revealed that, I was like, oh, that real brutal.
yeah, that was real brutal. And
Like,
how
real dreadful.
she
Grind.
delivers that, because
Yeah,
it's
boy.
basically a monologue, right?
Yeah.
She could have
does that all, boy.
easily done it hammy, yeah. She could have easily been hammy in that performance, but like nah, I gotta keep it theatrical, slightly over the top, boy. But you feel every second of it, though, and it works, right? But yeah, just how a movie is able to zero in on a particular mindset, though, and that is just rage. It's just bubbling, fueled rage, and it just flows through the entirety of this movie. I mean, it's no coincidence that the movie opens with the shot of a volcano, right? And it ends in that moment as well, too, right? But yeah, boy, I've hardly seen a film, Dread, where you just zero in on a particular mood, a particular mindset, a particular feeling, and just carry that across through the entirety of the movie. Because yeah, it feels guttural, it feels primal, it feels rage fueled throughout. You see it in every shot in this movie, right? Now with that being said, with all that stuff about Conan and Mandy and all that kind of stuff, right? This is not gonna be for everyone. I tell you why. I know a lot of people are gonna go into this movie, expect this thing to be this full tilt action adventure, hack and slash kind of movie. No, it is not that, right? The show takes its time. at first I was kind of like, for me, I was kind of wondering where the story was going because it was going in directions that even I myself, like, still while I think about it, I'm not too sure if it works, but I just like the unpredictability of the story. Like it's telling you the basic sort of, warrior seeks revenge kind of thing, but goes in like these different ranges and whatnot, right? I also love how they touch on, the idea of death and, the whole Valhalla stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you have Anya Taylor-Joy's character who's literally there, right? And how they portray as well too is that, again, she could be a Valkyrie and whatnot, right? But there's literally a moment where, our hero could have just settled with her. Like, the deed was done, but it's like, nah, 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 nah. I have to see this play out to the end, Dread. I love how they show this perfectly substance of like, look, it's just these two guys on a volcano with swords.
Right.
And this is just the extent. This is the highest extent to how much we hate each other, Dread. And that's what I love the movie for. It's just the highest level of religious marriage where even the backgrounds around him just,
is in photo.
Sum it up. Is in photo, right? But yeah. Just before I wrap up, right? So what I know a lot of people go into this expecting this thing to be some sort of like a gladiator-esque kind of movie.
No.
But no, it's not, right? And also I kind of see it more like how people went into The Last Duel, where it's like we want to see Gladiator again, but why we get all this drama stuff and all this stuff about stuff, right? But no, but it's not that, right? But also at the same time, I would say a lot of people who probably not familiar with E24 type content, or who haven't seen The Lighthouse or The Witch, will probably go into this thing blind and they come out of it as like, what the hell I just watched, right? But because we used it, I was just like, yeah, this works. But really, at the end of the day, though, who makes the show work though is Robert Eggers. Boy, this man came through and show, yes, I am a great director. Yes, I'm going to go down one of the greatest directors of all time. If you thought Witch and Lighthouse was great though, let me drop this on all there. This is exactly what he did. He killed it throughout this movie, boy. Like he came out as the MVP in this whole movie, right? You could tell that he just put his soul, his heart, his beating heart into this movie, right? You could just feel every heartbeat with every shot in this movie, right? He hands down, right? So yeah, not gonna be for everyone though, but that's what I love about it. I love that Eggers was brave and bold to say, yeah, I know Universal sponsored me, but dude, this is gonna be just as E24 as my other releases, right? I don't care, right? But yeah, boy, this surprised me. This blew me away. And I do want to see it again, though I'm not sure if I'll get the theatrical experience again. But yeah, for me, theatrically, this is one of the best experiences I've ever had with a movie, hands down, Trent. And yeah, I can't wait to see this. I saw it in Movie Town. Right now, I think that's the only place that shows it, which blows my mind, though. I know I'm concerned that it would last more than a week here in Trinidad, but yeah, I guess, well, I'm not sure when it'll come out digitally, but if you could see it as soon as, please do. If you had to watch it home, crank your sound system really loud, though. Okay, yeah, this is not just a visual experience, but this is an oral experience as well, too. My heart was racing through this movie, boy. That's just to show how deep this movie got into my system, Dread. So I got show for this movie long enough, boy. Rating-wise, I'm going to give this a decent 4.5 out of 5. One of the best movies of the year, hands down. Again, this is not going to be for everyone, though. If you're going blind, you'll appreciate. You might appreciate more, though. But I know this might not work with the conventional viewers or whatnot. But I would say go with an open mind and just have some water close by. Because believe me, your heart will be racing throughout this movie, Trent. Just for how ballsy and just how testosterone fueled it all is, Trent. But trust me, it's a ride that you will not forget in a hurry, man. So, yeah, Ricardo, final thoughts, rated, man.
What is impressive about Eggers is he gets into like male psychology in a really fascinating way without it being obnoxious, like like a Michael Bay or whoever it is. And he, as I say, I make the joke. You make that joke where he does both ways, but he plays into the idea of male violence in a fascinating way. And one of the things I was surprising about this is how come it doesn't glorify the violence, even though the violence is badass, doesn't glorify the violence in any way. But it makes it work in that conceit of, oh, this is how you have to tell this story and make it work in his own way. And he just absolutely nailed the conceit for what it is and what he was trying to do or go for. In telling this really, really like just straight up pathological story though. For me, 9 out of 10. I just really, really love this. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. Like, wow, this world just dark and grimy as hell, but they make it work. And it's a straightforward revenge story in some ways, but it's an excellent meditation on violence and mythology and history. And just general, just good filmmaking all across the board in terms of messaging and storytelling. Yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. Just I absolutely loved it. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, but I really, really loved it.
Yeah, and in closing, guys, I'm just glad that there's directors that just want to say, let's come out and say, you know what? Here's what I just want to make a ball to the wall, Viking revenge saga, trying to just make it so incredibly badass, but at the same time, just make it artistic enough so the artsy crowd could still like vibe into. Like, I just love how you just able to balance both. So the joke you're speaking about, Northman hard boy, Northman real bad. I mean, like, yeah, to the casual crowd who just want to see heads getting chopped off or whatnot, yeah, they'll enjoy it like at a base level, right? But if you're going really deeper with it, though, that's when it sticks with you. That's when it sticks. Like, I legit was thinking about our show when I left the cinema. When I was headed, I was thinking that kind of putting things together, like, oh right, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And because I was comparing it to Cool and the Barbarian so much, I kind of see this as sort of a deconstruction of that story itself.
Right. Exactly.
That blew my mind,
Yeah. So boy, Northman boy, 9 out of 10 boy.
Northman boy, yeah, you had to watch that, but that show real bad also. Real bad.